Hi, welcome back to my channel. This video is more of a reflective one, I suppose. The man that raised my mum, it would have been his birthday back in November, so last month, and it's his death anniversary in a couple of days' time. He died of cancer about 13 years ago now. And, you know, so he was my nan's first husband. And he was a funny man. He loved his granddad jokes, put it that way. And he was one of them people, like, he had the biggest heart, but the wickedest sense of humour. Like, the stuff that he would get up to, when he was younger, the stories he would tell me. He grew up with about 16 siblings, so there was a huge family. And he worked, oh God, it might have been a brickmakers at the time. And he would literally, like, the stuff he would do, he was a bully, like a proper bad bully. He would always tell the story about he was picked on this lad that was working with them, and he was probably in his very early 20s at this point. And he literally filled his sandwich with tar because he found it funny. Like, this is literally the stuff he would get up to, and he was very big on practical jokers. And like, every time you'd go and visit him, he's always got a new joke to tell you. Like, my mum told me one earlier. I'm not as good at telling them as what she is, anyway. And it was, what does a transformer tractor turn into? A field. Like, proper bad jokes. But that was just like his sense of humour. Anyway, so he was a very spiritual man. Like, he had a hard life, you know. He never really had it easy. His dad was in the war. All those siblings, a lot of the siblings died young and stuff like that. And he was always, you know, the whole of his family, they were always farmers, agricultural, I can't say it, labourers. They would always work in fields and stuff. And like, he would always grow his own crops and stuff like that. And yeah, so he was quite spiritual. Like, he could never make up his mind. One day he'd believe and another day he wouldn't. But UFOs are the one thing that he always believed in, no matter what. And the stories he would tell you, he would say, like, you know, I was going down the country road in the pitch black, because obviously back then he didn't have really proper street lights. Going down the country roads in the pitch black, and I see UFOs over this sort of village that he lived in at the time. It was a little village called Nash, and there's actually a big traveller site there now. But his family had been, you know, were there for hundreds of years, and well, settled in there, shall I say? And but they just like the village, and because they were working the fields and stuff, they stayed there. And yeah, all these stories about these UFOs. I wouldn't go into too much detail, but it wouldn't scare him. It would just make him, like, just thrilled, excited, like, there's, like, you know. And he'd always see stuff, like, he'd always see ghosts and stuff like that. He owned dowsing rods, and oh my God, this one time, I think it was in the winter, we went and see him. And so he had these dowsing rods out, because he knew that I was, you know, we were all spiritual and stuff, especially me, and I was learning certain stuff. So he would get them out and show me and let me play with them. So this one time my mum had to go, and I must have been 11, 12 at the time. See, my mum had these dowsing rods, and they were following me around. I mean, anyone who knows dowsing rods, you know, some people believe it's spirit that moves them. Sometimes it's because they follow water. Either way, they could be a bit creepy, dowsing rods. To this day, I don't like them. But they were following me around. I was literally stood in front of her, and I was moving to the side, and these bloody things were following me around. I was fucking petrified at the time. I was like, oh my God, a ghost's following me. I'm haunted. So they found it hilarious. I absolutely did. And to this day, I don't like dowsing rods. But he would always have all these books and stuff, and his second wife got rid of a lot of them. I'll do another video explaining the biology of my family. But he was a very funny man, and I think it's just more of a reflective kind of thing, because the sense of humour he had, he always loved to wind people up, and he'd always kind of use your fears against you in that way. But deep down, he was quite a spiritual person, I think, because he got to see an awful lot of stuff. And I think when his siblings died or were no longer, he would see them an awful lot as well. around the village and stuff where I used to live. So that's just a bit of reflection on him, really. His name was David. And he was a good man. Like I said, he loved with all of his heart. And I think sometimes it's important to remember your elders, whether you're related to them or not. And he was a funny man. His second wife didn't believe in none of it, but he did, and that was the most important thing, really, you know. And the stories he would come out and tell you, like half of it, like he would do it with a smirk, so you'd never know how much truth was to it. You know, he was very much a wind-up match, and he had a very interesting sense of humour. He was a funny man. So this video is just more just remembering him and just being relieved he's out of pain up there. And you know, I was there when he passed away, and he passed as he should have done. He didn't linger, you know. Till next time.